All right. It says we are recording at the moment. Welcome to, I don't know, what is this? Is this shiftless? Is this?
We're coming to you remote.
We are coming to you remote at beautiful Isle du Bois State Park. Do you want to give us a weather update, Bradford?
It's a little toasty. Could use a little bit more breeze. It's probably 88 maybe, 45 to 50% humidity if I had to just throw a guess at it. Sun setting, we've got about, maybe an hour more daylight. It's kind of nice. Twilight hours, shadows are getting long, It's a good place to lick your wounds.
Licking wounds.
Licking wounds.
So we're going straight into it, are we?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
All right. So today's topic, we're coming to you from
Isle du Bois. I think you
Isle du Bois State Park, which is day 3 of the Rat. And Isle du Bois State Park is not along the Rat route.
No, it's not.
So, elephant in the room. I guess we'll hand it off to Brad and just give us the summary of why you're no longer on the Rat, and then we'll dig into that a little bit deeper.
Well, you make plans, and then plans make you. So I set off with the best intentions. I had a great first day. We did 100. I think my Garmin said 137, almost 138 miles. Felt good. Got a good night's sleep despite all the circumstances. Woke up the next morning and I felt good. Legs were noticeably, tired, as to be expected. And they never opened up. My heart rate would never go up. I would be doing felt like I was doing decent efforts, but I just had no power. My heart rate, we would be climbing in the heat and I would look down and my heart rate would be like 112. And it was like that all day. It felt like I was in the wrong gear, like just grinding the whole time. Like nothing was ever easy, obviously, except for like downhills and stuff. And then, so we called it short. Day 2, we stopped at Bonham. We were there fairly early, although late for the pace we had anticipated on carrying. I think we averaged maybe 10 miles an hour. Had a crew with us, a group of our friends, Caleb and my friends, showed up to ride with us from Paris. They were going to ride all the way with us to Cartwright. Was it Cartwright?
Mm-hmm.
And they were very patient and waited with me. And it was strange because I felt fine physically, other than my heart rate just wouldn't go up and I couldn't put any power on the pedals despite everything I tried. And so, like I said, we stopped in Bonham. Caleb had a very good idea and said, hey, what you need is a good night's rest, get a little hard reset, get some AC, get some good food, hydrate, and wake up tomorrow and see what happens. So that's what we did. We were lights out 8:30. And
this was last night.
Last night. Alarm set for 5:30 in the morning. Plans to be rolling at 6-ish. I don't think we rolled until 7, actually, because by the time we dicked around with our bikes and everything, we got downstairs and it was 6:30 and the breakfast was open. So we're like, instead of stopping somewhere, let's just eat breakfast here. We ate breakfast there. It was okay. They did have a nifty pancake machine, which I've never seen before. It was a self-contained unit about the size of an old school microwave. It was all see-through, and you just push a button, tell it how many pancakes you want, and it went boop, and dropped them on a conveyor that slowly rolled, and it cooked them top and bottom.
Top and bottom.
And then it dropped them off onto your plate. Pretty cool.
Okay.
pretty cool.
That's niftier than the waffle makers at most of them.
Yeah, the ones that you have to flip. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. So we rolled out today, and at first I thought, I think I'm going to be okay. I still felt underpowered, and I just attributed that to just, tired legs, which was expected. And I
think the camera pooped out on us. There we go.
But I just attributed it to tired legs.
What is going on with this thing?
I don't know, but you're messing me up.
Sorry.
Anyways,
okay, just talk. We'll do audio.
We kept trudging on, and I just settled into the same thing. My heart rate would not go up. I think my average heart rate today was like 116, which is, I'm normally a higher, even on an intentionally low heart rate ride, it's hard for me to keep my heart rate that low, like difficult. Like, we talked about zone 1 and stuff.
Right. When you're riding zone 1, where do you typically, or I'm sorry, zone 2?
Zone 2.
When you're riding zone 2, where do you typically try to hover around?
My average usually ends up being like high 120s or maybe even low 130s on a zone 2 ride.
Okay.
And I don't know what my average was today. I'd have to look, but I think I said my average was 116.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's over 50 miles. It should have been 135, especially with the heat, and the tough terrain. Well, some of it was tough. It wasn't all tough today. Not on the portion we were on. It was hilly though. And the hills were actually a blessing because you get to slow down and climb, or you get to stand up and climb, and then you get a little reprieve on the backside. But my heart rate just would not go up. And it was 2 days in a row. And, Caleb had sworn to ride with me. And I thought, I'm holding you back. So we had to have a tough conversation. I was like, dude, it doesn't make any sense. I'm just digging a hole. And that's what I felt like I was doing. Like, if we pushed on to wherever tonight and I get some sleep, I'm still going to be in the same hole tomorrow. That's how I feel. Who knows? Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and feel great, but I don't think so. I think day 2, riding 70 miles and just grinding the whole time, just feeling like it was tough the whole day, even though it wasn't and it shouldn't have been, put me way far behind. And I think it was a culmination of day 1, like you and I discussed. I think I may have been undernourished and dehydrated.
So you obviously the heart rate lower than you were wanting, but you're also saying that you're not feeling the power.
Yeah.
That you're laying down power at all.
Yeah.
Kind of, is this like, noodle legs, like you're worn out, or what do you mean by not getting that sense of power?
Trying to think of how to explain it, but like almost like if you were like, even on smooth gravel, it felt like I was riding through sand, if that makes sense. It was just harder to turn over the pedals than it should have been, and I just couldn't put down enough power to get on top of my gear, and invariably I would gear down, and then I'd be okay for a little bit, and then it would be the same thing. And I would put in a little effort to get on top of my gear, and it would just bog back down. I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Understood. So were you feeling winded and tired and like you were zapped or anything, or it just didn't feel right going down the road?
It just didn't feel right. I couldn't, normally when you ride that far and you stop, you're like, you're catching your breath, I couldn't even get to that point. I was fatigued, but I wasn't like exhausted. I don't know how to explain it really. It was just a slow burn. It's not the way it should have been.
No.
I don't know how else to put it. It was,
Did you feel overheated during the days?
Not at all. Not at all.
Check out the deer over there on the other side of that box.
Oh, deer.
Oh, deer.
Hey, don't feed the deer.
Oh, there's another one. Well, we're not going to feed the deer.
They're so tame here.
Yep.
If you want to see deer, this is the park to come to locally.
So, and more to paint the picture for anyone that's listening or potentially watching. We'll see how this new technology works out for us. I mean, outside of not feeling normal, a regular everyday ride for Brad, you know, what you did your 300 miler a month ago, right?
Yeah, like right at a month ago.
And a month before that, roughly, you did your hut to hut. How many miles total was that and how many days?
So it paled in comparison mileage. But
Mileage
elevation.
Well, I was getting there.
Yeah.
Let me tell my story, Brad.
I think it was a little over, well, no. I think it was 170 miles total. Something like that.
And
it
how much
wasn't
climbing?
crazy.
How much climbing, though?
Shit, I can't even remember. 20,000 feet, something like that.
Okay.
No, it was more than that.
I think it was more. How many days was that one?
5 days.
So that was 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty good effort.
But we rode the day before, too. So I rode 6 days in a row.
Okay.
And the day before, we rode 18 miles, and I think we had 1,400 feet of climbing. You know, it was no slouch. And that was all single track and gravel. You know, and there was some substantial climbs, a lot of sustained effort. And then my 300 miler, you know, I did that solo. I did it on that same bike, loaded out exactly the same just to test all my gear and my legs and my navigation and my tracking. Hell, I did it with more gear because I carried a stove and water filtration, even though I didn't use it. And I felt as good as I did on day 1 of this trip on day 3 of that trip. You know, I had no issues. I mean, it was tough, don't get me wrong. And day 2 was tough because it was into the wind and uphill almost the whole way, you know. And it got warm, but I was fine, you know. I don't know. Maybe I was underprepared. It's very possible. But I came into this feeling like I had done everything the right way. I mean, obviously, I don't have a coach or go by any kind of program or anything like that. So I was just going by what I know and what I've always done and how I feel and everything else. And I came in at what I thought was a good weight. I've been doing all the right things, eating right. I don't know. I felt like I did everything proper. But
did you change up anything the week prior to this ride as opposed to what you've been doing pretty much week in and week out for the past 12 to 18 months or whatever, however long you've been kind of working on a focused approach?
I quit drinking whiskey and I quit drinking beer.
Fairly recently?
Yeah.
Well, that could actually be part of it.
I was trying to be a good boy. I was trying to give myself the best, you know, put my best foot forward, you know?
No, I get that.
I was trying to be a good boy.
Okay. But your body was also used to processing.
I mean, even leading up to that, I wasn't
drinking.
I had toned down my consumption of alcohol tremendously, but about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days prior to us leaving. Well, let's say this. We had a dinner the weekend before. No, I had Forestburg the weekend before. So Thursday, I did not take any alcohol with me, did not consume any alcohol while I was there. So it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I got home on Sunday and I had 1 small pour of whiskey, and that was all I had until I had 2 beers the night we got to Paris. So that's not true. It's not true. because Friday night I had a beer at the restaurant and I had a beer before bed.
Okay.
So, but I had toned it down a lot. But,
I mean, that could have played a factor, not maybe from the alcohol processing, but maybe it was just did you make up the difference calorie wise somewhere else? Yeah. I'm not saying that you
No.
were, but a couple beers is a couple hundred calories.
Yeah. In fact, I lost probably in the last 2 weeks leading up to this, I lost about almost 10 pounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a good sign.
I felt good about it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I don't know.
Okay.
So
I think we might be getting into
Yeah.
some potential issues. I'm sure, 99% of the people that are listening to this or watching this, they're all going to have opinions as well.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of them will actually really mean
Yeah. Look, let's just get it out there. I did everything wrong. Everything anybody says, yes, that was totally my fault.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That this is where I am struggling myself, because I don't think I've ever known anyone that actually did do a better job of getting ready for the rat. Are there people that are their day in, day out training regimen? They can go out and do the rat.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt it's hard. It's not an automatic.
No, and I didn't anticipate it being easy, and that being said, I don't think it was any harder than I thought it was going to be, Of course, I only saw a third of the course, but I mean, I did all the things too. I carry sea salt with me. I put salt in all my bottles, make sure I'm keeping my salt content high. I ran tailwind for the first, I started today with tailwind in all 4 of my bottles after I left one of my bottles at the gas station yesterday. And then, I didn't feel any different than I did on my 300-mile trip. I'm really just left scratching my head. I've never had, I just recently, maybe in the last year and a half, 2 years, started running a heart rate monitor again and tracking my heart rate and looking at it. So it's very possible that what I'm about to say is not true, but I've never seen my heart rate do what it did over the past 2 days.
So let's take it from a slightly different approach. If by chance you had forgotten your heart rate monitor and you were just pedaling along, not looking at your heart rate at all,
I still would have known something was wrong. Yeah, because I wouldn't have had any power. And then I would have just said, I'm tired, which is probably what it all calculates up to. But, there's probably, it's probably safe to say that it's not one thing. I was probably fatigued, dehydrated, malnourished, and 140 miles on the first day was a big dig. This is the biggest day I've done all year. So, I don't know.
Don't beat yourself up.
No, I'm not. It's more perplexing. Like, it would be easier to digest if it was just, I freaking forgot to do, or forgot to take, or forgot to, fuel this way, or I changed my powder at the last minute, or, I always eat oatmeal every day, or, something like that, but there's no there's no smoking gun, So
I would definitely agree that there's no smoking gun. There's nothing. Oh, that's it right there.
Right.
This will fix it in
Right.
one shot. Is it? Yeah. You might have touched on it. It's a combination of just everything, almost a perfect storm sort of thing. And I mean, I'm gonna lean into it because it proves itself all the time. Weather is always a factor. No, this wasn't triple digit riding, but it's still 90 degrees plus.
Yeah, but it was gorgeous
in friggin' October.
Yeah, but here's the thing you're forgetting. It wasn't still. It could have been 90 degrees and still. I mean, the only time I got hot is when we had a tailwind, and it's a double-edged sword because you got the wind pushing you, which is great. But you're in stagnant air, seemingly, because you're moving with the wind. It was the only time when I was like, whoo, it warmed up. But then for the most part, you got a crosswind or you've got a headwind, and those are blessings most of the time when it's that warm, so you're not, it's the times when you ride like that and then you only realize how hot it is when you stop or when you get into a tailwind situation. So it wasn't, I wouldn't even say it was miserable, But, and I've been riding in the heat. I've made it a conscious effort. But it's weird, I do have to say, that even after yesterday, now I know this is just stupid computer talking, putting phony numbers to things, but I noticed that my computer, my Garmin, said my heat acclimation was 44%, which doesn't make any sense because it was higher than that before I started the wrap. And I spent easily 12 hours in the daylight on Saturday and 8 or something hours in the sun on Sunday. So it should have been, 70%, I
can't speak to that because I'm not familiar with the Garmin heat acclimation and how it computes. I mean,
I don't either.
Is it one of those things where potentially if you're overdoing your heat acclimation, it takes your number lower, sort of thing? It's
it's definitely a possibility. I don't know how that wizardry works, but I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed the course. I got to witness quite a few strange things that, people say you're going to see weird things when you ride across Texas. And you do. I mean, I saw quite a few things that were strange. I saw an entire catfish carcass in the middle of a road in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there couldn't have been a body of water 10 miles from where we were. And it wasn't just a little catfish. It was a 2-foot head was attached, complete skeletal system, and the tail fin was it, just in the road. Strange. Saw a ultralight driving down the road. That was interesting.
Were the wings on it, or
no? This is one of the parachute ones.
What are those
called?
Parasail or
paraglider.
Paraglider.
So that's what it was. It was this guy sitting in this, I guess it's like a 3-wheel go-kart, and it's got a big fan.
Yeah.
Right behind him.
Okay, when you said no parachute earlier, I thought, well, I don't think ultralight flyers fly with parachutes on. You meant okay, paraglider.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Now I better understand.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is going on around here? It was wild. And I learned quite possibly the best trick for deterring dogs. Although we had no problems with dogs, even without this trick. One of the guys that we were riding with had a taser and was not trying to hit dogs with taser, just to clarify. But when the dogs would come out and they would get a little too close, he'd just hold it in the air and bzz, bzz, just click it, just off on, basically. And not only would they stop dead in their tracks, they would retract. It was amazing to see. Not sure I'll be carrying one, but it's damn cool. I would have never thought of that had I not heard of it. But I really wouldn't have believed it if I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. So you actually witnessed it in action
multiple times. It was pretty entertaining because it was immediate. But most of the dogs that we encountered, we've talked about this before. If you're just sweet to them, you say, "Hey, buddy," they're just like, "Oh, okay," And the thing I told Justin, because Justin doesn't do back roads riding like this, and he was like, "Oh my God, let's go, there's dogs." And I said, "Hey buddy, just keep the same pace." I said, "If you accelerate, they think you want to play chase. They're gonna chase you." I said, "Just keep your same pace and just talk sweet to them." And that's what we did. And we didn't have any aggressive dogs at all. Like not even any dogs that, we had one dog that wasn't aggressive, but followed us for quite some time. But that was it, not even yipping or anything, just running, just, "Hey guys," So, I don't know. I learned the important lesson of lidocaine. That stuff works.
Do go on.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Saddle sores.
Saddle sores. And you never get saddle sores,
I never
Bradford.
get saddle sores. I will tell you, after my 300 that I did, my undercarriage was a little delicate, but it wasn't like it has been on this trip. Just because I got pounded. Edit that out. It was
you and Caleb are tight, huh?
No, it was I don't know. I did not anticipate saddle sores in that fashion, and lidocaine will definitely be in my next extended bikepacking trip for sure.
So the lidocaine, that's basically just pain relief, though, right? It doesn't actually fix anything, or
it's medicated, but it's also a pain relief as well.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a difference because this one did say lidocaine medicated. And it's almost like it was in a little, like almost like a lotion bottle. It's a squeeze bottle, and it had a flat cap with one little hole in it, so you just squeeze out a small amount.
Do you have any theories on what may have made saddle sores be part of the equation this time around, since you've never really dealt with them before?
So this is a new saddle, but before you go jumping on me, I found that saddle on the side of the road on another ride. It's a WTB Volt. It was brand new, but it did get rained on, and the cover has started to peel from the underside. But that's also the same saddle that I did my 300 miler on. And it's the same saddle that I've had on my other bikes. So,
the same, not that saddle, but the WTB Volt.
Yeah.
But that specific saddle was on your 300 miler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, my other one had torn up so much that the cover was peeling off. And so I was looking for a saddle. I had I forgot what kind of saddle it was. I had a titanium railed something saddle that I had bought off of somebody that was brand new, and I was trying that out, and I was literally thinking, man, I've got to find another saddle before Race Across Texas. And I'm telling you, that day or the next day, we were riding home on a ramble, and that saddle was sitting on the side of the road in Teasley. You could tell it had never been clamped onto a bike or anything. What? I immediately was like, I know what that is. When we rode by in the rain.
That's just so crazy.
I picked it up. Yeah.
So it's exactly the saddle you were looking for, just laying in the middle of the road,
mm-hmm.
unused.
Sometimes if you ask the universe provides.
I gotta check something.
Sniff it.
I know. I'm not getting that close. I don't even want to touch it.
I'm not a sweater. What you looking at?
I was just seeing if
it said made in China.
Seeing if anything was out of shape or bulging or anything like that. You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
I think it's possible that I had tapered my riding off so much.
Walk me through that. What did that look like?
The week leading up to the start, I rode every other day. So I rode, let's back up even further. The weekend before, I think I rode Wednesday, did not ride Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And then I rode Sunday before I left Forestburg. Rode like 19 miles out there. Good ride, felt great. Then I did not ride on Monday. I rode on Tuesday. I did my, I think Caleb and I rode on Tuesday. Did like a 19, 20 mile ride. Bike was loaded, I think. Yep, because I slept in the yard Monday night just to test my tent again and everything and make sure I wasn't missing something or forgetting something. And typically when I go on a bike packing trip, I like to, instead of taking my stuff out of a box and putting it on my bike, I like to at least, at the very minimum, set it up, check it out, and then pack it up so I know everything's there.
All right. So walk me through this. Make sure that I'm remembering things correctly. So basically, the 2 weeks before you started on the Rat, you were riding significantly less over those 2 weeks. Over the course of those 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah. But I was still riding every other day for the most part.
Understood. You know? But overall, a lot fewer hours total. And
the Sunday before, the Sunday 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks before the start of the Rat was my last big ride. And that's when we rode up here and rode all the horse trails and stuff and rode back. And it was like 65 miles or something.
Okay.
You know, and I rode that bike.
But also during the course of those 2 weeks that you were riding based on hours significantly less, you still lost 10 pounds. And aside from drinking a little less, was there anything else you were doing? Were you trying to lose weight, or how did you lose 10 pounds?
I was just eating less because I wasn't riding as much, you know, and I wasn't drinking. And when I don't drink, I don't have midnight snacks, you know, handfuls of nuts and stuff at midnight, you know, that kind of stuff. And I don't know. But I also, you know, and I know people say it and it sounds goofy, but I listen to my body. Like if I'm not hungry, I don't eat, you know.
I understand.
And I've gotten to the point where I don't like to eat until I'm uncomfortable. You know, like if I eat and then afterwards I'm like, oh, it just means I ate too much, you know. Like I don't feel bad about it today at Taco Casa. I mean, I wanted every bite of that, you know. Felt a little miserable afterwards.
I've definitely felt miserable afterwards.
Yeah. But my body knew exactly what to do with it. I'll tell you that.
We're airing out the van good before I go sleep in there tonight.
No, it wasn't like an intentional effort, but
no, I get that, but you're starting to get onto some things that,
like I said, I did everything wrong. You know, it's okay.
Well, wrong's not. I'm not trying to find wrong. I'm trying to find out what may have contributed to this.
Yeah,
and I don't. Doing it wrong is probably not the right way to look at it. But what you've been describing is starting to sound like a fatigue issue.
Yeah.
Just an overall fatigue, at least to me. And obviously, I'm not a professional in this field. I bet we'll hear from a coach or two along the way. It'll be interesting to see what people that really know what they're talking about have to say about it. Let's go with a slightly different approach. You know, we've been talking a lot about the riding every day for a long time. Have you had any extended periods off the bike in the past year?
I don't think so.
Understood.
I'd have to look at my training calendar, but I mean, typically, like if I don't ride 2 days a week, I mean, typically I ride probably 5 to 6 days a week. I'd have to look.
No, we don't have to go down to the minutia. I'm just talking. I'm talking in general because, all the training truisms of 20 and 30 years ago are all being thrown out the window.
Sure,
everything's starting over from scratch. But there's definitely a camp that is hardened on the the off season do nothing.
Yeah,
is integral to the equation.
Oh, I know I don't recover properly. There's something to be said for that too.
Understood. Just trying. This is more of us thinking out loud in front of each other.
Yeah,
sort of thing. The main thing is I don't want you to beat yourself up. That's for damn sure. I don't want you to get caught up in, oh, I did this wrong. I don't think that's the case at all. I think, quite frankly, you were working as hard and as disciplined as anyone I've ever seen that was looking to do the rat. Ultimately, it's hard. That's why we have a 70% attrition rate. All the pieces do have to line up for a successful run. Everything from weather to conditioning to, and I'm going to lean on, I would not be surprised if something viral, a virus piece is in the mix somewhere along. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because a lot of the fatigue you're talking about really rings true with the bug that's going around now. I just wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of the equation.
It's weird though, because otherwise I feel perfectly fine.
Understood.
I mean, I don't even know.
It's just the fatigue thing that really gets me going there. And I mean, prior to this attempt, yes, you're 100. Well, you said the 140 mile day. That was your longest ride in how long?
Probably since Kanza, but I mean, I rode that weekend a month ago. Maybe, I guess it was longer than a month, a little longer than a month ago.
About a month ago, and that was 300 miles in 3 days.
Yeah, but one day I rode 117, and one day I rode like 111. There's not much difference there.
There isn't.
You can argue, but I mean, it's time on the saddle, and that's what's back-to-back days. Back to back. Yeah, and I felt good every day. In fact, I rode on Monday after I got home on Sunday, and I think I rode on Tuesday too.
I mean, were you feeling anything that seemed like fatigue or even ennui or just out of the groove or anything like that the last week or two?
No, because normally when you get fatigued, you get tired head too. None of that. That's what's even more confusing. Because normally when you're run down, you can't make decisions. You're struggling to articulate. You're not making sense when you talk. You don't even want to talk. Those kind of things. It wasn't like that at all. I still had all my candor, all my, wits about me. I was still like, everything seemed fine. All
right, we're going to take it down a slightly different path, but
go for it.
That might still be a little bit related. And I'm sure anyone that's listened to the last shiftless episode is going to go, well, what about your shifting? Mm-hmm. But I want to touch on one aspect of that before, because I do want to hear the details of how the shifting sorted out and everything like that. But one thing, not sure how to say this.
Oh, just spit it out.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Where it makes sense. I'm not trying to not hurt your feeling. How this makes sense. When we were talking in the last shiftless episode, well, hell, the whole episode ended up being about your shifting issues, generally speaking.
Oh, sorry.
No. That's kind of my point. Is I've never seen or heard you be so negative about anything for such an extent. Now, don't get me wrong. Caleb and I wanted to hear more, and we did talk about it.
Yeah.
And you were doing your best to, and I think you did a fantastic job explaining the situation, and that's why we kept priding you for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you were negative, Brad, during that conversation more than I've ever seen you about anything.
Yeah, it was too close for comfort, and it was out of my control. That's what was irritating to me.
And I guess what I was trying to get at or ask or potentially, I get it that it was making you extremely uncomfortable at that point. That's definitely, that's a time to start getting nervous about things like that. But maybe you weren't on your A game physically or mentally, and maybe that was feeding into a little bit more negative mindset than Brad typically. You're the one that usually chases me away from the negative. Let it go. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I told you didn't want to talk about it.
I know you didn't. And I didn't want, we weren't milking it for you to be negative per se. It was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Maybe we can help you solve it.
It all worked out.
Our dearest back. So tell us about it. What ended up, last I heard you were going to go grab a cassette and throw the cassette on yourself.
Yes.
What happened there?
I did all that, and my shifting was still doing the exact same thing. The one tool I do not own that I am planning on changing here very soon is a derailleur hanger alignment guide, or derailleur alignment guide. Because I suspected that my derailleur hanger was bent because it was doing it in the exact same position in the cassette. And I was like, my mind started going, and I started getting angry, which is another emotion that I don't visit very often. But it was like
frustration was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
But it was like 4:00 on Thursday. Yeah. Because it was Wednesday when we did the podcast, and my cassette was going to be in the next day, I think.
I think it was supposed to be in
that
Wednesday.
Day. Yeah, so it was Wednesday. Yeah, so I texted the owner, and I said, hey, you still at the shop? He said, yeah, but I got to leave at 6. What's up? You still having problems? Yes, I'll be there. So I showed up, and they double-teamed my bike to say the good things. And went through it, cleaned up all the cable ends, double-checked everything, and basically checked the derailleur hanger again. Gabe located a couple of tiny things, and we had some conversations about some of the stuff that I was thinking. And bottom line is, they fixed it. And so I took it home, and I had all my bags on it because I didn't want to take my bags off because I was scared that it would shift fine until I put my bag on there. My front loading bag, because there's a barrel adjuster that really needs to be further down the cable, in my opinion. And when I redo the cables on it, that's what's going to happen. But I didn't want that barrel adjuster to be affected by me putting my bag on or taking it off. So I didn't want to take it up there without bags on it. My bags were already on there anyways. So they went through it, shifted fine. I test rode it before I took it home, shifted fine. I went on a ride the next day with Caleb, I think. And it rode fine. And then, I don't know, 60 or 70 miles into day one, I started having, it wasn't ghost shifting that bad. It was just, I probably give it to cable stretch, even though my shop is really good about pre-stretching derailleur cables, which I think is a super smart thing to do. But invariably, it came out of whack a little bit, but it wasn't ghost shifting. So I gave it a little bit more time to settle out to where it got a little bit sloppier, just to let that cable tighten or slack off a little bit more. And then I finally adjusted it. Yesterday, it wasn't near as bad. I had made one little tweak. And then this morning when we were loading up, I had Caleb hold up to my seat because I couldn't find anywhere. You can't find anywhere to prop your bike up so you can work on it when you're by yourself, And I tweaked the barrel, got it lined up, and it shifted perfect all day today. No issues. So it was just a little bit out of adjustment. But I have no equipment qualms. Tires were fine. I don't think anybody that I heard of had any tire issues.
Not that we've heard of yet.
Yeah.
But that could change. So,
and I'm glad that I put those tires on instead of the Aspen STs, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which tires are on it?
The Mezcal 2.25s. I had thought about running those Aspen STs, but I think some of that rock would have made a lot of that thick rock feel even thicker, I think. Unless there's a possibility I could have just floated on top of it. I don't know. It's possible those tires could have been faster, but I don't know if they would have been as tough. It's a possibility I could have had a tire issue.
All right. So I'm still not quite following what the shifter fix was or was not. So the cassette itself didn't fix it. Is that one?
No, the cassette was definitely part of the problem. I get that. But it was just a little out of alignment.
Okay.
Not the derailleur hanger. Not out of alignment. Out of adjustment. The cable had just stretched. It's going to happen,
And I'm sorry, this is 12 speed, correct?
Yeah. So that's the problem. That's why it's out of my wheelhouse, and it's just because I haven't spent any time messing with it. There's a couple of key components on that system. I forget what it's called now. Ratio technology. So it's got a gear that you have to install in the shifter, because that's an 11-speed shifter. Because right now they don't make. Well, I don't think SRAM will. How about that? Make a 12-speed mechanical over mechanical. It's mechanical. So you can buy a 12-speed drop bar shifter that's hydraulic brake mechanical shifter, I think. But I don't want to give up my Paul brakes, and I know that's kind of a hard-headed thing to do, but I really wish in an ideal world, this thing would have the new T90 on it with drop bar shifters, and still be able to run mechanical brakes. But they don't make a drop bar shifter for it currently, 12-speed, and I highly doubt that it's going to be mechanical over mechanical. I think it's going to be hydraulic brakes, mechanical shifting. But so it's got the gear in it, and then we talked about the inline barrel adjuster, which I don't know if that's part of the kit or if that was an add-on that my shop just did. And then it had a barrel adjuster on the shifter, which was one of my failure points we talked about before. But what it has is this ramp on the back, and it's got a proprietary nut that goes on there, or washer, actually, that has kind of a stop. It's got a slot on one side, so it can only sit on the derailleur a certain way. The problem is the only thing keeping that washer from turning is a piece of plastic. And so over time, that washer just had to wear that plastic away just a little bit. And so now it spins. So when you go to tighten it down, that washer wants to turn with that cable. So it puts more tension into the system as you tighten it. And the only way to combat that is to run the barrel adjuster out, so you're taking up some of that cable slack, and then over tighten it so you make sure you get a good clamp on the cable. But as you tighten it, you're pulling more tension on the cable, and then you've got to give some of that tension back through that barrel adjuster and adjust it back in. Instead of normally when you adjust a derailleur, you pull all the slack you can, you tighten it down, and then you've got to use the barrel adjuster to take up tension, right? You following me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the only way I found to combat it. And that didn't move it. I mean, that washer situation, bolt situation was not part of the problem. It was a problem initially, just because I don't think that they realized that was what was going on when they were trying to make the initial adjustments. And then it became this chasing ghost kind of thing, which was fine because everything went through, you know.
Sure.
And I got new derailleur pulleys, you know, and a new cassette and new shifters. It's good times.
So here's the important question.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to ride your bike again?
What is tomorrow? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Probably not Tuesday. I don't know. I may go for a little 1 hour spin tomorrow. Just and see how I feel. Probably not on that bike though. Might ride a different bike.
So that's a benefit of, you know, getting past this week. Now you can just grab and go whatever bike you want to anytime.
Yeah.
I know you were doing a lot of focusing of spending as much time on this bike as was practical.
You got to practice what you preach, baby. I say that all the time. Hey, if you're going to do something serious on a bike, spend as much time as you can on that bike. Know every bit of it. Like, that's not just your body, you know, learning how to handle that bike and ride that bike and stuff. It's, hey, what are my problem points with this bike? You know, beat it up. See what's going to let you down when it really matters, you know?
So all told, even though you didn't complete this year's rat, how many miles total did you end up with on the bike over 3 days?
Two 260, is that right?
I'm not sure. I haven't added it up. That sounds pretty close. So
Let's call it 140 on the first day.
It was 140 on Monday. It was 70 yesterday.
That's 210. And then 50 today.
You did 50 today?
Yeah, so
260 in 3 days. I mean, granted, you were very familiar with the bike already, but
yeah,
after another 260 over 3 days, not in your best riding, was there anything that came up short on the bike, or say, oh, this was a little bit off, here's something I might change next time with this bike?
I mean, I could have gambled and went lighter, you know? I could, you know, there's easier ways to do it, I'm sure.
What's total? I don't think we ever talked about that. What was total weight on your bike for this trip?
So we weighed my bike when I took it to the shop for the final time with all my bags and everything on it. Water bottles, but they were not filled. And then I had my vault on there, but it was not filled with tailwind. Computer was on it. GPS tracker was on there. All my clothes, my final loadout, the way I rolled out, less water, that is to say, was 50.4 pounds, something. It was like 50 pounds on the nuts.
All right. So if you throw fluids and your tailwind stash in there, probably
another 8 pounds. I was carrying 5 bottles, and it was just shy of a full gallon of water.
Okay.
Might have been too much water. Might have carried too much water the whole time. But we talked about this. Water's my safety net. I'm not going to get caught without water. So
understood.
I don't do well without water. But I mean, it felt heavy, but it didn't feel unnecessarily heavy. you know? I mean, for carrying a camp system and clothes and stuff, I don't think it's terrible. Could be worse. I wonder how much Matt's rig weighs.
Matt
Golson.
Oh, I have no idea. He rides this early, doesn't he?
He's got a cutthroat.
A cutthroat now. Okay.
Yeah. But he had a gigantic saddlebag. It almost looked like it was on a rack. I'm not sure it wasn't. Got a big, this wide and like this long. It's like a boot box size.
Okay.
And it's that real thick, rubbery material. It was bright orange.
All right. So this is 7:04 p.m. Monday night.
Mm-hmm. And it's starting to feel amazing out here.
It is. It's starting to feel really good. Doug Schatz and Sedge Downing. Sorry, Sedge. They've pulled off at, I think, Holiday, and both looks like they went up the road to Wichita Falls to overnight at a hotel in Wichita Falls, is my guess. Looks like they're in different hotels this time, but it looks like they both followed the same strategy. They are by far in the lead. Caleb, still going strong, is about to pull into Lindsay. So he went past Gainesville. He's probably going to the Lindsay Inn, is my guess.
Atta girl.
Matt is down in Denison. Looks like he's at the hotel in Denison.
Yeah.
He's chugging along nicely. Nice steady pace. Looks like Jay Green is... Everybody stopped at the Valero in Colbert today. Colbert, whatever it is, Oklahoma. And that's where Jay Green is presently. Rich and Nathan, looks like they both finished there. Well, Nathan might still be pedaling. I don't know exactly where he lives, but where his plot is does not look like a neighborhood. But they have both finished their mini rats and are at home or near to it, it appears. So, it is still a rat out there.
It definitely is.
Doug and Sedge are really doing a good job. They both look really strong. Be interesting to see how that sorts out over the next couple days. Caleb is riding his ride at the moment.
Yes, he is.
It'll be interesting to hear his follow-ups on this. His plan is to still go for the whole thing. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And do you know what his transportation situation is? Is his wife coming out to pick him up?
That's the plan.
Okay. Understood. So all of a sudden you've got a bunch of bonus time.
That's not the way my wife sees it, I can guarantee you. That's one of the reasons I wanted to camp tonight. No, I tried to take care of most of my honeydews before I left town. Even though I claimed that week I was going to do as little as possible. I don't know. Definitely going to go home and shower and sleep in my bed, though.
Shower. Maybe.
Not before I sleep in my tent again. Yeah.
Sleep in the tent one more time. Should we record an official shiftless episode Wednesday morning, or should we treat this as our episode for this week?
Why don't we do an official shiftless episode in the morning?
Wednesday morning?
No, tomorrow morning.
Possibly.
What's your plan?
I don't have a plan.
We can talk about this off camera.
We can talk about it off camera. We could potentially do that.
Yeah, I think that could work.
Okay.
If only we had coffee.
I've got Starbucks Vias and a induction burner.
Look at you.
Will that work?
God, Taco Casa, and then you bring out coffee? Man. Butter me up.
All right, Bradford. Hey, we're coming up on almost dead on an hour here.
Perfect.
I think that's a good little mix. Do we do our traditional send off, or do we save that for the next episode?
It doesn't matter. They're going to ride their bikes anyways, right?
Well, tell them what to do.
Go ride your bike. Don't be like me.